Test. Okay. Yeah, my internet is acting up, I think, so let's see how this goes. Maybe I'll have to postpone stream. But let's see. Okay, so I've collected a number of things I want to change in the game. They are a lot. I'm not sure if I can do that in 1 week, but I'll try. And the question is, how do I add them? Do I put them behind feature flags or not? Probably not. I was thinking maybe that would be a good idea, so I can turn some of them on and off, but they're so interrelated that that's probably a bad idea. So yeah, let's just try without the feature flags. Okay, so first one is I want to convert the shield to armor. Well, that's actually not right. Add armor, and then convert the shields to a secondary item with a block ability. So I want armor in the game so that you have you can choose which type of armor to wear, and then have monsters be strong against a type of armor, and then also make monsters weak against a type of weapon. And for that to have meaning, probably the player probably needs a way to find out what monsters lie on the path ahead, but that's a different problem. So this should bring more decisions to the game play. If you know that you're weak against zombies, for example, you'll approach them differently. So I think that's a good idea. And with all of these features, I'll try them out, and if they work, I'll keep them. If not, I'll revert to the previous state. So let's do that. So first thing, add armor. The thing is, I need currently the shields are tiered, so there's level 1, level 2, level 3, and they all do the same thing. They just protect you in varying amounts depending on the level. But with the armor, I want 3 different types, and with each of them having a tier. So that's a bit more complicated, but should be okay. So let's say I have light armor, or let's say leather. That's the obvious choices, mail and then plate, but it's also a bit boring. So maybe well, I can rename them later, so that's okay. But what do I call the second tier? So it would be Well, maybe that's the category, and then I name the armor something. But let's just go with leather plus 1 for now, and mail plus 1 before I get too caught up in this. Okay, so let's look at the code. Let's look at the items. And I have 3 types. I have weapons, I have gear, and I have secondary items. Weapons, self-explanatory. Gear is the shields, and secondary is the bow currently. But I will add shields to these secondary items, so that then you can wear a shield or a bow. And the gear is then yeah, just the armor. And it should actually just work. Let me see here. This is just color changes. Shield. Where do the shields defend? Oh, that's in the hero defense stat. Yeah, if the armor is not null, it should actually be called gear here, but let's actually change that in the same stroke. That was the bag. So this is gear. Let's refactor that real quick. Arm. Okay, that's a pointer. And in the entities, that's one more. Okay. So let's look at, maybe I should turn the shield into a secondary weapon first. So let's look at this file, and the shield is, well, that's actually, that's set here. So Okay, these are the 3 shields. You want to turn them into 9 pieces of armor. Yeah. But I want the shields to become secondary weapons. So let's move them here. And then let's add the armor. So that's 3 different leather armors. How do I name them? Maybe like this. Then 3 different mail. And then plate. Come on. Is shield. Where do I drop that? It has to be. Okay, it's an object. Okay, here's the evolution. So, yeah, upgrade object. That's actually the same. Yeah, shield turns into a buckler. I just changed the object IDs behind it and the type. So the shields are now secondary items, but as you can see, there's weapons in here as well. So that should just work. Let's actually go into the test room. And plop down, what am I trying to test? The buckler and a knife and the bow. Okay, so if nothing, let's pick them up. If I equip the buckler and if I equip the bow, it should unequip the buckler, which it doesn't. Oh, I haven't, okay, I haven't compiled correctly. Okay. Let's try this again. With, doesn't really matter, shield and bow. That's important stuff. So if I equip the shield, it's orange, that's good. And I can only equip either of them, but I can always equip the weapon. Okay, that's pretty cool. That feels correct. Okay. So now the shield doesn't do anything. let's look at the function. Is shield. So we're here in gear. If the gear is shield, then change the hero color. That's irrelevant. That'll be armor. Not sure why that check is there anyways. This is static now, so isn't used at all. But this should probably turn into is armor, so let's not remove this just yet. And I don't have item, object. What is the gear check here? New level. Returns a level fitting the object. So that is when an object spawns, it looks at what kind of a level it should have. And not sure why the secondary weapon is not here. Might actually be a bug. Okay, that's not static. And I call that an entity as well. So this is just spawning stuff. And what is this? Yeah, that's also loot. Should be fine. Okay, then an item. New durability. Okay, that's fine. That is the equip function. And gear breaks faster. So that's okay. Don't see where that could explode. But what I need is... oh yeah, I need all the occurrences of the variable we just changed. Yeah, and that's in break the shield. Fight. So that's break the armor. That's okay. And then equipped indicator. That's okay. Maybe I should have a... that's the inventory indicator, the equip indicator. Maybe I should have a third one for the gear. Yeah, why not actually? So let's make this a brown color. But I don't have gear yet. I haven't created the armor. Okay. But the where am I? That's entity. Okay, remove item. Okay, if you drop the item, it gets unequipped. That makes sense. And then, yeah, that's just the usual stuff. And then, yeah, that should actually be it. Oh, well. Yeah, that's also correct. So the hero defense value is set by the armor now. So that's actually, yeah, that should just work. Okay. Let's go back to the leather armor. Let's put this in. And I'll need to create oops. Let's look at the shield. Let's just take this one and add the armor. Yeah, it's stupid that I have a charm that's leather. Yeah, let's just remove this and rename this one probably. Something like that. Okay, then the others. Well, maybe I should have robes, but something akin to that. That's not as high fantasy. Well, let's just keep it like that for the moment. Okay. Yeah, so the colors are a problem. Anyways. Okay, now we have the armor, but I need a sprite. So let's plop them down. That's mail, plate, and leather. And I did have a armor sprite before, but probably lost it. Okay, let's look at these numbers. Render char. What? Oh, that's render 10 hearts relative to the hero. Okay, that's completely obsolete. Let's remove that. So 337 is not used. Let's look at the neighbor. 338. That's also not used. 339. Also not used. So let's use these three. And that's actually not that bad. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3 maybe. That's not clear. Maybe like this. Okay. Three, 7. Come on, 338. 339. Let's see how that looks. And the test room. That looks okay, I think. For a start, at least. Okay, so let's see what happens if I equip them. Okay, that works. And it should defend. But my defense in this status is not going up. So let's look how that's calculated. Status ASCII hero defense. So that should actually take the, yeah, that should take the gear into account. So not sure what's happening there. Oh. Yeah, I get it. Need to go to object and then add the progression here. So leather 1, turns into leather 2. Leather 2 into leather 3. Oh no, leather 1, leather 2. Okay, this is confusing. Leather 1, leather 3. Okay, same for the other two. Am I doing this right? Okay, there should be, yeah, they should have unique names. Okay, so apparently wait, if I this adds +1, so I should have added something to my defense value. Okay, defense 0, defense 1. Okay, it did. Or it does now, at least. Okay, that's cool. How do I name these? Actually, not sure. But this should be called leather, this should be called mail, this should be called plate. The charm is called leather. Okay, this is a mess, but I'll fix that in the future. Okay, let's look at the to-dos. Convert, add armor, make 3 armor types for each level, convert shields into a secondary item with a block ability. So the shields don't add to your defense rating anymore. And actually the yeah, the type of armor you're wearing should, well, it shouldn't affect your defense rating. It should only affect what types of attacks you're weak against. So I don't need this tiering from light to heavy armor. But I mean, would still be helpful. Okay, this is more complicated. Let's look at the weapons. Okay, I have a swinging weapon, which is a stupid name. Slashing, piercing, cutting. And blunt. So these are attack types. Could be attack types. Except for this one, this is just stupid. Is cleaving a word? Probably. So I'll have these, maybe, but... So what kind of attacks could there possibly be? So I have arrows. Arrows. I have... Let's go through the monsters as well. Where are they? There they are. So jackals and wolves have bite attacks. Skeletons have probably slashing. Kobolds. Wait, undead. Undead are also bite, probably. Undead are these zombies. Slashing skeleton. And then kobolds have maybe... well, trolls have blunt attack. I could see a scratch attack, but that's yeah. Let's give that to the kobolds as well. Then snake is a bite. Raptor is maybe slash. Spiders also bite. Okay, I'll need to fan them out a bit. Centipede is the blunt. My brain is all over the place. Bear is claw. Oh, claw. Well, that's raptor. And bear. What can I put in slashing? Oh, the robbers, of course. Claw. Probably is the centipede. Okay. Bear mammoth is blunt attack. Ghouls, archers. Okay, so plan is to not have evolutions of monsters. In the sense that a kobold turns into a troll. I'll break that off because it kind of limits the number of monsters I can have. I'm basically wasting precious characters in the alphabet. So monsters will still have levels, of course, and change the color depending on the level, but they won't turn into something different. So what that means is that I have to put all of these into that matrix. So next one is the ghoul. Well, actually I have the shade right here. That's not in the game yet, but let's call it curse. Then ghouls. Let's put them into the blunt attack. Or in the claw, actually. And then, okay, I have the archers, hatchlings. Let's call this cut. Hatchlings. Cocoons don't do anything. Necromancers are just like the skeletons. Robbers are also using knives. And then the hornet, which is not in the game. Okay, man, that's kind of okay. But yeah, let's put the undead into blunt damage. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, actually, the snakes, the spiders don't bite; they shoot. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So bite, cut, blunt, claw, and curse. So how can I split that into types of armor? Maybe the armor is increasingly defends against increasingly more attacks. So leather is just against bites and claws, and then mail has those two and cuts as well, and then no, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So they should all have the same amount of protection or non-protection. So let's say leather has protection against I would say against bite and against not against cuts, but against claws. And then plate has protection against blunt damage and cuts. And the mail protects, well, actually 2 are enough. Maybe I don't need 3 types of armor. Maybe I just need light and heavy armor. Yeah, why not actually do that? Not sure why I had 3. And then arrows. Well, either both of them or neither of them. Let's say neither. But you can block it with a shield. Okay, so let's make it 2 types of armor. Leather and plate. I might want to add more, but okay, let's make it pieces of armor. So starts out small, maybe with a cap, a leather cap, and then I can't use boots. But a belt maybe. Oh, this is bad. Or I could make it unique pieces of armor. That will multiply things. But how would that work? And it would also... would also take away the... Wait, what would it... Man, this is not easy. So, having a base armor that you can find could be a bit boring. Could be a bit boring. So maybe I don't have them tiered by level, but have all of them equipable, which would use up a lot of space in your inventory. But would be also... Yeah, why would you then... Okay, you could mix and match. So... let's say... maybe not have tiers at all. And only say, okay... to protect against blunt weapons, you'll have to have a cap or a helmet. To protect against cuts, you'll need a mail shirt. To protect against bites, you'll need cuirass, whatever that is. Forgot what it is. I mean, it doesn't add up. Maybe bites, you need gloves. And against claws, you need... well, you would probably need... the mail is not good. I mean, that's a breastplate and that's a breastplate. And arrows as well. So it doesn't quite work. Maybe if I rephrase the attack types. I mean, it should be completely obvious against what they protect. So cut and claw is too similar, probably. What if I make this pierce? And then this cut. What is bite? Do I need 4? Five. Maybe 3 is enough. I think I have 4 hero attacks. Piercing, slashing, cleaving. Should probably be the same. So cleave, blunt, pierce, and slash. Does that make sense? Not really. Be pierce, slash. Okay, what protects against bites from a wolf or snake? It's gloves. What protects against sword or knife attacks? That's a armor. And what protects against blunt attacks? That's a helmet. And what protects against cleave attacks? Maybe shoes. Because it can evade them better. So that's not ideal. Maybe shoulder pads. That would make the most sense. And then arrows. Nothing. That's just the shield. I mean, that's better. Let's make this verbs. Brush. Maybe let's lose the armor. That would completely invert what I tried to do. Let's remove the armor completely. And what could... protect against a slash? Maybe nothing. Maybe also the shield. The shield should be able to block all of these. But I also don't want the hero to run around like the Terminator. But maybe that would be a good idea. Yeah, let me go to the bathroom real quick. Be right back. Maybe I'll need to make them only have 3 attacks. That would probably be enough. And then have gloves, helmets, and boots. And remove the slashing. So hatchlings can go there. Robbers Skeletons and necros. Should probably go... Let's keep this slash and make the arrows piercing. Wait. Let's make it, yeah, let's make this. Something like that. So that makes sense. Gloves protect against jackals, wolves, snakes, hatchlings, and robbers. That makes sense. Which is the odd one out. I mean, this kind of makes sense, but yeah, the bear should be in here. And then crushing, troll, kobold, mammoth, undead, ghoul. Defend it against with a helmet, that makes sense. And then slashing, raptor, centipede, necro, skeleton, robber. Yeah. Gloves, helmet, boots. I like the items, but yeah, I don't like that they. Well, I mean, gloves could be a cool item that unlocks a different gameplay ability in the game. So if I spend them on armor, that's not ideal. Or we're back at light, medium, heavy armor. But that's less fun because you can't mix. Yeah, should be individual pieces that are combinable. So helmet is pretty good. Pierce is okay. Boots for slashing don't work that well. I mean, I could still say, okay, a shirt or chest piece, and then pants or leg armor, and then the helmet. But then the helmet is the odd one out. Okay, what I could also do is I give these 3 pieces a defense rating of just defense +1. If you have all 3, then that's basically +3 shield as it is right now in the game. And then I could say, then I could add enchantments that reduce the piercing damage, for example, or make you, yeah, almost immune against it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I also don't think if this isn't getting too convoluted, because none of these categories are obvious to the player. Okay, let's backtrack. The to-do was to replace shields with armor. And nothing more. So this is probably too much. Yeah, so what I need is 3 types of armor. Leather, mail, plate. And that's it. That's the minimum required to solve this. But I like the idea of the gloves, the helmet, and the boots as just defensive additions. So let's do that. Gloves, helmets, and boots. Well, that's also... they're taking up a lot of space in the inventory. Okay, let's just go the easy route for now. And rename this a strap. Okay, and then shield, leather. Leather, 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 mail, leather, plate. Yeah. Okay, blocked those two, but I have mail and plate. And if I equip leather, mail and plate, okay, they don't have levels, but it's okay. So they're all the same, but they should work. Okay. So convert shields to a secondary item with a block ability. So I've had that before, and that's it's not that hard. Wait, actually, yeah. Just the visual feedback could be a problem. So if you've equipped the shield and press the special action button, the hero will be set into a blocking state, and the turn is skipped. So if a monster is next to you and you press the block button and the monster attacks in that turn, then it'll get blocked by some amount. Yeah, the main problem there is the feedback. Actually, let me look at this first. Make each monster strong against a type of armor. Okay, that's actually the other way around. And that would be exactly that. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. But oh god. Then I'm back at 9 different armors. 3 types and 3 levels each. Is there a middle way? It's probably the gloves, helmet, boots thing. But this is, yeah, it's non-obvious what monster falls into which category. Unless I add normal. Everyone's in normal. And these are load up abilities. Hey Squint, how's it doing? How's it going? So that could be a solution. And then I could give clear feedback on what type of attack that was. And so the player knows what to defend against. And then this would actually... So leather protects against piercing and slashing. Or maybe just one. Maybe just one. Yeah, that would be flipped. That makes sense. Maybe leather allows you to dodge some percent of attacks because it's lighter, more mobile. Yeah, that's another good point. How does the weight of the armor affect you? So in this table right here, I have different types of attacks and the monsters that do them. And I have three different types. Arrows are different. And I'm looking at how to implement armor. So shields will become a second weapon that you can block with. But I'm testing it. And the armor should defend against different types of monster attacks, but not all of them. So I have leather armor protects against slashing, mail against piercing, and plate against crushing. But I don't like the I don't like the tiers. I don't like that leather mail plate implies a sequence, because you should actually mix and match this. So if I go back to gloves and helmet and boots, then that makes much more sense. But it's also, yeah, you would need all three of them. And it's still not quite clear what type of attacks these monsters do. So I'd have to give visual feedback in some kind of a form, so that you can remember, okay, zombies always have a crushing attack. Or maybe it's just they attack normally, but they have a load up ability that will do a crushing attack. But then the armor is less effective and less required to have. Feedback could be in audio, yeah. Could be in audio, could be in the particles that I put on the attacks. Slashing has a distinct sound, yeah. That could work. But yeah, the problem is for a new player, this is completely cryptic. They have no idea what's going on, and they also don't know that there's items that protect against something. So gloves could also be could just give you an ability instead of just being a defensive item. So that's all pretty confusing. So yeah, normal attacks should be, so the typical attacks as they are now in the game should be of type normal, but then all these enemies should have a load up attack that does one of these types of damage. And then maybe it's better to not have gear against that at all, but make it do some kind of a movement pattern that you can evade just by stepping aside. That would be much better. Not a attack type flag. It could be that you can get by without specialized armor in the early game. New players may come across armor, but not be under pressure to figure out straight away. Yeah. Oh my god, this is so complicated. So generally, I want the game to be really approachable, and as you said, become more complicated as the game goes on. But I don't want people to have to consult tables on the internet with attack stats. I don't want this to turn into Excel. So yeah, that's a problem. So with perfect knowledge, this system could work fine, but that would mean new players would have to consult a wiki, which is a no-go. But yeah. So what I've discovered here, if the attacks should be load up abilities and have movement patterns, then the type of armor is irrelevant to the type of attack. And the armor can just be a defensive boost. Maybe with maybe if enchanted, then it could restore more health or something. Probably. Probably, maybe. Okay, I'll have to think about this some more. And I'm sorry, Squint, but I'll have to go already. A friend of mine is having a concert in town, so I'll have to back up. Yeah, but thanks for stopping by and thanks for the input. That's actually, yeah, really valuable. Yeah, because I've been thinking myself in circles this stream again, but that's okay. All right. Okay, Squint. Thanks for stopping by, and I will be on again tomorrow. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.